Marvel Studios just spent $500 million asking us to care about the Fantastic Four again, and you know what? They might have actually pulled it off this time. Fantastic Four: First Steps arrives as MCU Phase 6's opening gambit, with an 88% Rotten Tomatoes score. Remarkable feat considering this franchise's previous cinematic outings scored 27%, 37%, and a catastrophic 9%. But before we get swept up in the fourth times the charm narrative, let's dissect what Matt Shakman and his massive budget actually delivered, because in an industry built on manufactured hype, the devil, as always, lives in the details. Shakman made one crucial decision that immediately sets this apart from its predecessors. He skipped the origin story entirely. Instead, we meet the Richards family, already established as celebrity scientists in their retro-futuristic 1960s world. Reed and Sue and I are married. Johnny's the hotshot brother-in-law, and Ben Grimm carries the weight of his transformation with resigned dignity rather than fresh trauma. When Galactus arrives to consume Earth, our heroes must navigate both cosmic threats and family dynamics while grappling with their public responsibilities. The central conflict isn't just save the world, it's save the world while maintaining the family unit that defines us. This shift from individual hero journeys to established family dynamics represents a fundamental reimagining of superhero storytelling, one that prioritizes emotional stakes over spectacular set pieces. At least that's the theory. The screenplay, credited to Josh Friedman, Eric Pearson, Jeff Kaplan, and Ian Springer via a production in creative flux. According to insider reports, Friedman was brought in specifically to inject cosmic gravitas after Kaplan and Springer delivered a comedy-heavy draft. You can feel these competing visions wrestling throughout the runtime, moments of genuine family intimacy suddenly punctuated by quip-heavy action sequences that feel imported from a different movie entirely. The 1960s setting serves multiple narrative functions beyond mere aesthetic choice. It allows the film to explore themes of scientific optimism and nuclear age anxiety while providing convenient technological limitations that force our heroes to rely on teamwork rather than high-tech solutions. When Reed's stretching powers fail during the Baxter building sequence, the solution comes through Ben's strength and Sue's tactical invisibility, a character-driven resolution that feels earned rather than manufactured. But peeling back this surface reveals deeper structural problems. The film's middle act suffers from pacing issues that suggest extensive post-production restructuring. The transition from Earth-based family drama to cosmic scale threat feels abrupt, and several emotional beats that should land with devastating impact instead register as obligatory plot points. Ebon Moss-Bachrach's Ben Grimm emerges as the film's emotional anchor, bringing genuine pause to what could have been a one-note monster role. His early scene, with Reed's children discussing the loneliness of transformation while helping with homework, exemplifies the film's strongest moments. Quiet character work that earns its subsequent spectacle. The decision to cast a Jewish actor in the role also corrects a long-time oversight in previous adaptations. The casting process prioritized family dynamic over individual auditions, with 3 weeks of stage rehearsals dedicated to establishing authentic relationships and period-appropriate dynamics. This preparation shows in the domestic scenes where the four leads achieve genuine chemistry. Pedro Pascal's Reed Richards avoids the typical absent-minded professor trope, instead presenting a brilliant scientist grappling with the ethical implications of his discoveries. Pascal brings gravitas to the role while maintaining the character's inherent optimism about scientific progress. Vanessa Kirby Sue Storm emerges as the family's emotional center, balancing maternal instincts with fierce protective power. Kirby navigates the character's dual nature, gentle wife and mother, formidable invisible force with nuanced performance that grounds the fantastic elements in recognizable humanity. Her chemistry with Pascal feels lived in, suggesting years of shared partnership, both personal and professional. Joseph Quinn provides the film's lighter moments without falling into pure comic relief territory. Quo captures the character's youthful cockiness while hinting at deeper insecurities about living up to his family's scientific legacy. Shakman's direction shines in intimate moments, but struggles with scale. His television background becomes apparent during the large-scale destruction sequences where his camera often feels uncertain about where to focus amid the chaos. The Galactus encounter, while visually impressive, lacks the personal stakes that make the family scene so compelling. The technical achievement here deserves recognition. Cinematographer Jess Hull's Kubrick in 1965 palette creates a genuinely distinctive visual language that sets this apart from generic MCU house style. The decision to use specialized cinematography and select IMAX sequences represents a commitment to visual storytelling that many blockbusters abandon for efficiency. The practical approach to production design pays dividends. Kazra Farahani's two-story Baxter Building set and Alexandra Burns' pale blue FF suits create tactile environments that ground the fantastic elements. The full-scale spacecraft, miniature and animatronic Kirby demonstrate a commitment to physical reality often abandoned in modern blockbuster production. You can feel the weight and texture of these environments in ways that purely digital construction struggle to achieve. However, the VFX work reveals the strain of modern blockbuster schedules. While ILM's Galactus creation impresses, the extensive digital effects comprising over half the runtime sometimes feel rushed. The Human Torchfire simulations occasionally drift into video game territory, particularly during the climactic space battle sequences. Michael Giacchino's score deserves special mention. His Future Foundation's late motif provides the emotional through-line the script sometimes struggles to maintain, performed with full orchestral grandeur that elevates even mundane, domestic scenes. All these layers converge to reveal something significant about our current cinematic landscape. Here's my hot take. Fantastic Four: First Steps succeeds precisely because it rejects the modern superhero paradigm, rather than embracing it, in an era where Marvel properties chase relevance through multiverse complexity and legacy. Character cameos: Shakman's film dares to be self-contained. The 1960s setting isn't nostalgic escapism, it's a deliberate rejection of contemporary cynicism. The film's projected $110 million opening weekend positions it competitively against Superman and demonstrates that well-crafted character dynamics can compete with spectacle-heavy alternatives. The 88% critical score represents a remarkable turnaround for a franchise that seems cinematically cursed, suggesting that execution matters more than brand recognition. Marvel's strategic positioning of this as their Phase 6 opener signals recognition that their recent output has suffered from interconnected complexity overload. By grounding cosmic concepts in family dynamics, they found a template that could guide their next decade of storytelling if they resist the temptation to immediately complicated with multiverse shenanigans. The social media response has been notably positive, with particular enthusiasm for Herbie's Space Roomba persona and relief that the film treats its diverse casting with appropriate respect rather than tokenism. Early reactions suggest viewers are responding to the film's earnest approach, a refreshing change in an era of self-aware superhero content. So, where does this leave us? Fantastic Four: First Steps achieves something remarkable in modern blockbuster cinema. It remembers that spectacle serves character, not the other way around. While the film suffers from structural inconsistencies and occasional pacing problems, its commitment to family dynamics over universe building creates genuine emotional stakes that make cosmic threats feel personal rather than abstract. Shakman and his team have delivered the first truly successful Fantastic Four adaptation by understanding that these characters work best when their powers enhance rather than define their relationships. The retro-futuristic aesthetic provides both visual distinction and thematic coherence, creating a world where scientific optimism can coexist with personal vulnerability. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. The script bears the scars of multiple revisions and several action sequences feel obligatory rather than organic, but in an era where superhero films often collapse under the weight of their own ambitions, First Steps succeeds by focusing on recognizable human emotions dressed in extraordinary circumstances. The real question moving forward isn't whether Marvel has cracked the code for their first family, it's whether they'll learn the right lessons from this success. The film suggests a path toward more grounded, character-driven superhero storytelling that doesn't sacrifice spectacle, but rather earns it through emotional investment. What emerges is a template that other studios would be wise to study, sometimes the most radical thing you can do in a landscape of manufactured complexity is to tell a simple story exceptionally well.